things like that will change, and how we are part of the support for the monarchy may change slightly.
The most famous woman in the room stopped everything when she pointed a shaking finger at the Queen's chest and told her to take off the stolen jewelry. A huge secret just blew up at a big royal party in front of hundreds of people and all the news cameras in the world. Princess Anne suddenly stood up from her chair. She looked very angry and cold. She pointed her finger at Queen Camilla and told her to take off the Williamson diamond right then. This was a very special pink jewel that used to belong to the late Queen Elizabeth II. It was worth more money than anyone could count. The whole room became very quiet. It was the kind of quiet where you can hear a pin drop on the floor. No one knew why Anne, who is usually very quiet and always follows the rules, would start such a big fight in front of everyone. It was a very scary and mean thing to do in public. But the real story did not start at the party. It actually started 10 days before that night. Princess Anne was doing her normal job of looking at the royal rooms. She wanted to make sure everything was okay. While she was looking at the glass boxes, she saw something terrible. The famous pink diamond was gone. It had vanished without leaving a single clue behind. Anne felt a fire of anger grow inside her. She was very mad because someone was messing with her mother's things. Her mother was the queen, and these jewels were part of her history. Anne quickly started to think that Camilla might have something to do with it. This was because Camilla had stopped going to her normal jobs and was acting very strange. People saw her moving around the palace at night when she should have been sleeping. Anne told the security people to fix the camera tapes. When she looked at the videos, she saw that someone had messed with them on purpose. It looked like someone had tried to hide the truth. Just when it seemed like the thief got away with it, a new person showed up. This person had a big secret that could change everything. Who was this person? Why did they want to go against the queen? And what was Camilla doing in the dark parts of the palace that made Anne so mad she had to yell in front of the whole world? The sun was very pale on that April afternoon. The light came through the colorful glass windows of Buckingham Palace. It made long, dark shadows on the deep red carpets in the hallways. Princess Anne is the only daughter of the late Queen Elizabeth. She walked with a very serious face. She always looked like she was doing important work. She did not like to play around or be silly. Her whole life was about doing her duty for her country and being proud of her family. People who watched the royals always talked about Anne and her sister-in-law, Queen Camilla. They were not really best friends. For many years, they were nice to each other, but they were not close. It was like there was a wall between them that no one could see. They both thought about their jobs in different ways, and thought being a royal was a big, heavy job that you had to do because it was right. Camilla had a hard time for many years, but now she was the queen. She seemed to like the power and the attention more than Anne did. The big crowning of the king in 2023 was still a new memory. Everyone in the palace was still trying to get used to the changes. Anne was the one who was supposed to take care of the special things her mother left behind. Today, she was going to the room where they keep the most famous jewelry. She did this all the time to make sure everything was safe. She wanted to make sure the jewels were ready for some big meetings with other countries next month. Anne pushed open the heavy wooden door. It was made of oak and was very strong. She walked toward the glass box in the middle of the room. This was where the Williamson diamond was kept. It is one of the rarest pink diamonds on the whole planet. It was a wedding gift that Queen Elizabeth loved very much. But when Anne looked inside the box, the diamond was not there. The blue velvet inside the box was empty. It was very scary to see nothing where a big jewel should be. Anne's heart beat very fast for a second, but she did not let her face show she was scared. She had spent her whole life in front of cameras, so she knew how to keep a secret face. She could not let herself panic. She leaned in close and looked at the glass like a hungry hawk looking for a mouse. There were no cracks in the glass. No one had broken in by force. The alarm seemed to be working just fine. The electronic lock only worked for a few people who had special codes. There was no record of anyone using a code they weren't supposed to have. The diamond being gone was not just a normal theft. It felt like a knife in the back. The palace had so many security layers to stop the best thieves in the world. Since no alarms went off, and knew only one thing could be true, the thief had to be someone who lived or worked inside the palace. It had to be someone who knew the rules and had the power to walk through locked doors without anyone asking questions. Anne held her handbag so tight that her hands turned white. She started to think of all the people she knew. She made a list in her head and started crossing off names very fast. She thought back to everything that happened in the last 2 days. She remembered that some workers would not look her in the eye. She also remembered that Queen Camilla did not show up for tea yesterday. That was very weird because Camilla always wanted to look good for everyone. Anne started to feel very, very angry. This was not an accident. The late queen wore that pink diamond at very important times. It was a symbol of her friendship with other countries. Taking it right now was like sending a mean message about power. Anne stood very still and saw her own face in the glass of the empty box. She was a very strong woman standing in the middle of a big fight for power. This palace was full of secrets, and now a traitor was hiding there. This person had dared to touch her mother's special things. Anne looked around the room one last time and then walked out. She did not call the police right away. She knew that if the news got out, the whole royal family would look bad. She decided to find the thief herself. She knew every corner of the castle better than anyone else. She whispered to herself that someone had gone too far. The big fight for power had started. Anne was not going to let anyone step on the things that were sacred to her family. She wanted that diamond back. She wanted the person who took it to lose their honor. Anne went to her private room at St. James's Palace. It was a quiet place with a small golden lamp on the desk. It smelled like old books and leather. She was very determined to catch the person who took the diamond. She spread out all the papers that showed where the royal family had been for the last 10 days. Her fingers moved over the names. She stopped when she saw Camilla's name. She didn't just start suspecting her for no reason. She had been watching very closely. Anne is very smart and notices things other people miss. For a whole week, Queen Camilla had been acting very strange. She usually loved to have tea with rich and important people to make friends, but she had been canceling all those meetings. She said she was sick, but Anne didn't believe it. Anne had seen Camilla walking in the hallways late at night. She was wearing plain clothes that didn't look like queen clothes. She had a big scarf over her face so no one would know who she was. Anne remembered how Camilla acted at dinner recently. She was very wiggly and could not sit still. She kept touching her neck as if she was looking for a necklace that was not there. She also looked away every time Anne talked about checking the royal treasures. These were not the signs of a person who was just tired. These were the signs of someone who was hiding a big secret. Anne stood up and looked out the window at the morning fog. She was having a hard time deciding what to do. She wanted to protect the family name, which meant staying quiet so the news wouldn't find out. But she also wanted justice for her mother. If she didn't say anything, the diamond might be used for someone's bad plans. But if she blamed the queen without proof, everyone would think Anne was the one causing trouble for the king. Anne made her choice and pressed her lips together. She was not going to give up. She picked up the phone and called a man who worked on the palace security. He was an old man who had worked for the family for a long time. They met in a dark corner of a room full of computers. The old man's hands were shaking. He told Anne something that made her feel very cold. He said the cameras in the diamond room had been turned off by a special code. This happened in the middle of the night 3 days ago. This proved that Anne was right. The theft was planned by someone very powerful. A normal person would not have that code. Anne felt a big wave of anger. This was a betrayal of everything she believed in. Her eyes looked very sharp as she stared at the red codes on the computer screen. Whoever did this thought they were too smart to get caught. They probably thought people would just think the computers broke because everything was changing in the palace. Anne put her hand on the man's shoulder to tell him he was doing a good job. She told him to try and find any tiny bits of the video that were still in the computer. She knew that even the best systems leave a little bit of a trail if you look hard enough. She said in a very quiet but strong voice that if someone tried to hide the truth in the dark, she would pull it into the light. She didn't care if it caused a big fight in the family. This was not a secret anymore. It was a mission to honor the people who had died. The truth was starting to come out of the lies. The basement of the palace was very cold and had big walls made of concrete. There were lots of loud computers making a humming sound. Anne stood there with her arms crossed. She watched the data on the screens for a long time. After many hours, the workers found a small piece of video. It was a tiny bit of time that the thief forgot to delete. The video was green because it was taken in the dark. The time on the screen said 2:00 in the morning. A person appeared in the hallway near the diamond room. The picture was a little blurry, but you could see how the person walked. You could see how they held their long skirt. It was definitely Camilla. In the video, she was not just taking a walk because she couldn't sleep. She was moving very fast and looking around to see if anyone was watching. It looked like a very important mission. When her hand touched the door lock, the screen went fuzzy and white. Anne felt like she had been hit very hard. She felt sad and also very grossed out by what she saw. But she was a smart woman. She knew this little video was not enough to prove everything. Camilla could just say she was going in to look at the jewels or to think about the late queen. To get a queen in trouble, Anne needed a lot more proof than a dark shape on a screen. That night, Anne went back to her room and sat in the dark. She thought for a long time. Then she heard a very quiet knock on her door. A young guard came in. He looked very, very scared. His face was white and he kept looking around to see if anyone was following him. He was breathing very fast. He knelt down on one knee like people used to do in the old days. His voice was shaking, but he started to tell his story. The guard said he saw the queen leave the diamond room right after the cameras were turned off. But the most important thing he saw made Anne stop breathing for a second. He saw a bright flash of light in Camilla's hand. It was a very bright pink light. It was definitely the Williamson diamond. The room was very quiet after he finished talking. Anne watched the guard very closely. She saw his shoulders shaking and saw that he was telling the truth. She knew he was being very brave because he could lose his job for telling on the queen. The guard's fear showed how much power Camilla had now. Anne felt the power shifting. Having a person who saw the crime was the final piece of the puzzle. Her heart beat with a strong plan. She put her hand on the guard's shoulder and promised to keep him safe. In the dark room, Anne's eyes were colder and sharper than ever. The truth was not hiding in the dark anymore. A simple worker had brought it into the light. Anne knew she could not go back now. She had the sword of justice in her hand. She just had to wait for the right time to use it. She wanted to break the wall of lies that Camilla had built. A big fight was going to happen very soon. After the guard told his story, Princess Anne did not run out to yell at anyone. She stayed alone in the big library for a whole day. She sat with the paintings of her family ancestors. They looked very serious. Anne looked at many papers and notes about the big meetings coming up. She started to think about why Camilla would do such a thing. She thought about the big meeting at the end of the week where many world leaders would be there. This was a very important time for the new king and queen. They wanted to show they were strong. Anne knew that a diamond was more than just a pretty rock. It was a symbol. That pink diamond showed the link between the queen and other countries. If Camilla wore it at the big party, she would be sending a secret message. She would be saying that she was the real leader now and had all the power of the old queen. The more Anne thought about it, the more she felt sick. She could imagine Camilla looking in a mirror and trying on the stolen diamond. She could see her smiling because she wanted to be a powerful queen so badly. It was like she was trying to steal the spirit of the old queen. Anne felt very conflicted. She was at a place where she had to choose between being nice and doing what was right. If she told on Camilla right away inside the palace, the king would probably hide the story to keep things quiet. The diamond might be locked away forever and no one would know. But if Anne stayed quiet to keep the peace, she would be just as bad as the thief. She had promised to protect her mother's things. Then Anne found out something very important. Camilla had asked a jeweler to change her dress so it could hold a very large jewel. This was the proof Anne needed. It was a real plan. Camilla was going to try to trick the whole world. She wanted to be the star of the party by wearing the stolen treasure. Anne walked to her desk and touched the wood. She thought about what the people would say. She thought about the world leaders and the pain the truth would cause. But she also saw her mother's face in her mind. Her mother never put herself before the crown. Anne felt a strange calm come over her. She made her final choice. She would not stop Camilla yet. She would let her go to the party and be very confident. She would let her wear the stolen jewel. That way, Camilla's own big ego would be the thing that caught her. Anne knew that to catch a snake, you have to let it come out into the light where everyone can see it. She whispered that she could not be silent anymore. She began to get ready. She wasn't going to give a boring speech. She was going to hit back at the person who thought they were better than everyone else. That night, Anne did not sleep. She stayed awake to protect her family's honor. She waited for the sun to come up on the day of the big meeting. This was the day that Camilla's fake story would fall apart in a very embarrassing way. The big hall at the palace was very bright that night. There were thousands of little glass pieces on the lights that made everything shine. Important people from all over the world were there. The air felt like something big was about to happen. Princess Anne stood on a balcony and watched everyone. Her face looked like it was carved out of stone. She did not show any feelings, but she looked like a judge. When Queen Camilla walked in, every camera turned to her. She walked like she was very important. She was wearing a beautiful black dress. It was the perfect background for the very bright light on her chest. The Williamson diamond was glowing with a pink fire. It was so bright that you had to look at it. Camilla was smiling. She looked very proud of herself. She felt like she had finally taken over the old queen's spot. Inside, Anne was feeling like a storm was coming. But she stayed very calm on the outside. She walked down the stairs slowly. Each step was loud on the floor. She walked through the crowd like a sharp knife. When she got to Camilla, she did not bow. She stood up very tall. She stared right at the diamond on Camilla's chest. Everyone in the room started to notice. The talking stopped. Anne raised her hand and pointed right at the pink rock. This was not just a question. She was showing everyone what Camilla had done. Camilla looked very confused. She tried to keep smiling, but her hands started to shake. She tried to act like she didn't know what was going on, but Anne was ready. She told a worker to turn on the big TV screens in the hall. Instead of pictures of world leaders, the screens showed the black and white security video. Everyone saw the dark shape of a person in the diamond room. They saw the cameras turn off. Then they saw the clip of Camilla in the middle of the night. The whole room stopped breathing. People started to whisper. Camilla moved back a step. Her face turned very white. She still tried to look like she was innocent. She didn't want to lose, but Anne had one more thing to show. The young guard walked out from behind the big doors. He looked very brave in his uniform. He walked to the middle of the room next to Anne. In a clear voice, he told everyone what he saw that night. Every word he said was like a hammer. It proved Camilla was the thief. Camilla stood all alone while the cameras flashed over and over. Everything she had worked for fell apart in 1 second. People who liked her a minute ago now looked at her like she was a bad person. The diamond on her chest seemed very heavy now. Its light seemed to be blaming her for being greedy. Camilla's hand shook as she touched the diamond. She looked around for help. She looked at the king and the other workers, but they all looked away. The truth was too big to hide. In that moment, in front of everyone, Anne took a step closer. She wasn't mad anymore. She just looked like a woman who had done her job. The hall was so quiet that you could hear people gasping. Queen Camilla felt the weight of everyone looking at her. She stood there in the middle of the mess she made. Her hands, which were always perfect, were shaking very hard as she tried to take off the diamond. She was very clumsy. It didn't look like she was a queen anymore. When the jewel finally came off her dress, there was just a big empty spot on her black velvet. It looked like a hole in her honor. Camilla put the diamond on a tray that a worker held out. As soon as she let go of the jewel, the room went dead silent. No one said anything because the silence was the worst punishment. Camilla looked around for a friend, but the king had turned his head. All the people who used to follow her moved away. She was all alone in a circle of shame. She walked away. The bottom of her black dress dragged on the floor. She didn't look proud. She looked like she had lost everything. She went through a side door and disappeared. No one followed her. No one said goodbye. Leaving like that meant her royal life was broken forever. Princess Anne stood still and watched her go. She felt many things. She wasn't happy that she won. She felt sad that someone could be so greedy and bad. She took a big breath. The room felt different now. The truth had come out. It cost a lot because the royal family looked bad in front of the world. But Anne thought that people can fix a bad name, but you can't fix a lie if you let it stay. When the news people left, Anne took some trusted guards with her. She took the diamond back to the room where it belonged. In the soft light of the safe vault, she put the pink diamond back on its blue velvet. Under the lights, the stone sparkled again. But this time it looked beautiful and right. It didn't have the bad feeling of a secret plan anymore. Anne stood in front of the glass and saw herself. Her face looked a little softer. She knew that there would always be fights in the palace. People would always want more power. New plans would be made behind the old walls. But for tonight, her mother's things were safe. She touched the glass with her fingers. It was like saying goodbye to the past and making a promise to the future. Anne turned and walked out. She was as straight and proud as ever. Behind her, the Williamson diamond stayed in the dark. It was a silent witness to a daughter who was loyal and stayed true to her family. Now that the story is over, what do you think? Was Princess Anne right to tell the truth in front of everyone to protect what was right? Or do you think she was too mean and made the royal family look too bad? Tell us what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more stories. Also, click on the next video on your screen because you will really like it. Everyone in the big palace was talking about what happened. It was a day that no one would ever forget. The story of the missing diamond and the brave princess who found it became a legend. Anne showed that being a royal is not about wearing pretty things or having power. It is about being honest and doing the right thing even when it is very hard. She protected her mother's memory. She made sure that the history of the crown stayed clean. The pink diamond was back where it should be. The person who tried to take it was gone. The palace was quiet again, but everything had changed. The truth had won, and the last true guardian of the family had made sure of it. Princess Anne walked through the halls, and the workers bowed to her with real respect. They knew she was the one who kept the family together. They knew she was the one who wouldn't let anyone break the rules. The Williamson diamond continued to shine in its glass box, a bright pink light in the heart of the palace, reminding everyone that some things are too important to be stolen. It was a victory for honor and a lesson for anyone who thought they could hide the truth in the shadows of the royal house. Anne's work was done for now, but she would always be watching. She was the one who made sure the crown stayed bright. She was the one who made sure the legacy of Queen Elizabeth would live on forever, safe from anyone who tried to take it for themselves. The story of the pink diamond was a story of a daughter's love and a princess's duty. It was a story that showed that the truth will always come out if someone is brave enough to look for it. And Anne was the bravest of them all. She stood for what was right and she won. The sun went down over the palace and the lights came on. The long day was finally over. The guests had all gone home and the world was talking about the news, but inside the walls it was peaceful. The diamond was safe. The queen's daughter had saved the day. She was the real hero of the story. She didn't need a crown to be a leader. She just needed her strong heart and her sharp mind, and that was more than enough to protect the whole kingdom from a big lie. The pink diamond stayed in its box, glowing softly, a symbol of a promise kept. Anne went to bed knowing she did what her mother would have wanted. She had saved the honor of the House of Windsor. She had shown the world what it really means to be a princess, and that was the greatest treasure of all. Wait, the story isn't quite over yet. People are still wondering what will happen to Camilla now. Some people think she should never be allowed back. Others think the king will forgive her. But one thing is for sure. Princess Anne will be there to make sure whatever happens is fair. She is the boss of the palace secrets now. Everyone knows not to mess with her. She is the one who holds the keys to the truth. The palace feels different now. It feels stronger. It feels like a place where the truth matters. And that is because of one woman who wasn't afraid to point her finger and speak up. She saved the pink diamond, but she also saved the soul of the royal family. That is a story that will be told for a very long time. It is a story of power, greed, and a very brave princess. It is the story of the Williamson diamond and the night the truth came home. The news across the ocean was full of the story too. People in every country were watching the video of Anne pointing her finger. They saw the brave guard. They saw the queen leave in shame. It was the biggest story of the year. Everyone had an opinion. Some people thought it was like a movie, but for Anne, it was just her life. It was just her job. She didn't do it for the news. She did it for her mother. She did it for the history books. She did it because she loves her country. The pink diamond is more than just a rock. It is a piece of the world's history, and it is safe now. The royal family will have to work hard to be a team again. It will take a long time for people to forget what Camilla did, but they will always remember what Anne did. They will remember her strength. They will remember her cold, sharp eyes. They will remember that she is the one you can trust. The palace stands tall in London, and inside the diamond shines bright. It is a reminder that even in a place full of secrets, the truth is the most powerful thing of all. And as long as Anne is there, the truth will always have a friend. The guards at the palace now walk a little straighter. They know that the princess is watching out for them. The workers know that honesty is the most important thing. The whole atmosphere of the palace has changed for the better. It is a place of honor again. The Williamson diamond is the heart of that honor. Its pink glow is a sign of a new start, a start where lies are not allowed, a start where the family's history is protected. Anne is the one who made that happen. She is the true daughter of the queen. She is the one who keeps the flame alive. And that is the end of the story of the missing pink diamond. It is a story with a happy ending because the right person won. The diamond is back, the truth is out, and the princess is still standing tall. What a night it was. What a story to tell. It is a lesson for everyone. Never take what isn't yours, especially if Princess Anne is watching, because she will find out, and she will tell the world, and that is the royal truth. The morning after the big event, the palace was very quiet. The birds were singing in the gardens. The sun was coming up. Anne was already awake. She was sitting in her office. She had a cup of tea. She looked at the newspaper. Her picture was on the front page. She didn't smile, but she felt a little bit of peace. She had done her duty. She had protected the crown. She knew there would be more problems tomorrow. But for today, everything was okay. The pink diamond was safe in its box. The halls were quiet. The palace was still there, strong and old. And Anne was there too, the guardian of the truth. She put down her tea and got back to work. There were more things to do. There were more jewels to check. There were more rules to follow. That is the life of a princess. And Anne wouldn't have it any other way. She is the rock of the family. She is the one who never moves. She is the one who stays true. And that is why she is so special. The story of the pink diamond is over, but the story of Princess Anne goes on. She will always be there, watching over the treasures of the past. She will always be the one who stands up for what is right. And the world will always be watching her, because she is a real princess. And she knows exactly what that means. The Williamson diamond continues to sit on its velvet cushion. It is a very beautiful thing. People come from all over to see it. They look at the pink light and they think it is pretty. But now when they see it, they will also think of the story. They will think of the night it was stolen. They will think of the night it was found. They will think of the brave princess who brought it back. The diamond has a new story now. It is a story of justice. It is a story of a family that had a big problem but fixed it. It is a story that shows that the truth is more beautiful than any jewel. The pink stone will always be a part of the royal family. And the story of how it was saved will be a part of it too. It is a story that will be told to children for many years. It is a story about being good and doing what is right. And it is all thanks to Princess Anne. She is the one who made sure the story had a good ending. She is the one who saved the pink diamond. And she is the one who saved the royal family's honor. That is a very big job, but she did it perfectly. And that is the true story of the royal bombshell. It was a night of fire and light, and in the end, the truth was the brightest thing of all. So when you see a picture of the royal family, look for Princess Anne. Look at her serious face and her straight back. Remember the story of the pink diamond. Remember how she stood up to the queen. Remember how she found the truth. She is the one who keeps the palace safe. She is the one who makes sure everything is fair. She is a very important part of the family, and she is a very important part of the country. We can all learn something from her. We can learn to be brave. We can learn to be honest. We can learn to stand up for what we believe in. That is the lesson of the Williamson diamond. That is the lesson of Princess Anne. It is a lesson that we should all remember, because the truth is the most important thing we have, and we should always protect it, just like Anne protected the pink diamond. The end of the story is just the beginning of a new chapter for the royals. A chapter where they are stronger and more honest. And that is a good thing for everyone. The palace is still there, the diamond is still there, and the truth is still there. And that is how it should be. The pink diamond is a very special rock. It was born deep in the earth a long time ago. It was found by people and made into a beautiful jewel. It was given to a queen who loved it. It was almost lost to a bad plan, but it was saved by a brave princess. It has seen a lot of history. And now it has seen even more. It is a witness to everything that happens in the palace. It sees the secrets and the lies, but it also sees the truth and the love. It is a part of the family now, and it always will be. The Williamson diamond is a symbol of the royal family. It is strong and beautiful and rare, just like the family it belongs to, and just like Princess Anne who saved it. The story is a reminder that even the most beautiful things can be part of a messy story. But in the end, the beauty of the truth is what matters most. And that is what Anne showed the whole world. She showed us that the truth is worth fighting for. She showed us that honor is more important than power. And she showed us that one person can make a big difference. That is the real power of the princess. And that is the real beauty of the pink diamond. The royal family is a very old institution. It has many rules and many traditions. Sometimes those rules are hard to follow. Sometimes people make mistakes, but the institution stays strong because of people like Anne. People who care about the rules, people who care about the truth. She is the one who makes sure the institution survives. She is the one who makes sure it is still there for the next generation. The story of the pink diamond is a small part of that big story, but it is an important part. It shows that the family can fix its own problems. It shows that they can be honest. It shows that they can do what is right. And that is why people still care about them. That is why the world was watching that night. They wanted to see what would happen. They wanted to see if the truth would win. And it did. The truth won, and the pink diamond is safe. And the royal family is safe too, all because of a princess who wasn't afraid to speak her mind, all because of a daughter who loved her mother, all because of a woman who knew her duty. And that is the most important part of the story. It is a story of love and duty and truth. And those are the things that really matter. The Williamson diamond will shine for many more years. It will be worn by other queens. It will be seen by many more people. And every time someone sees it, they might remember the story. They might remember the night Princess Anne stood up and pointed her finger. They might remember the shock and the silence. They might remember the truth coming out. It is a story that has become part of the jewel itself. The pink stone is not just a diamond anymore. It is a symbol of justice. It is a symbol of a daughter's loyalty. It is a symbol of the power of the truth, and that makes it even more valuable than it was before. It is a treasure in more ways than one. And it is all thanks to the woman who saved it. The woman who stood tall in the middle of a storm. The woman who made sure the truth was told. Princess Anne, the guardian of the diamond, the guardian of the crown, and the guardian of the truth. That is her legacy, and that is the real story of the royal bombshell, a story of a pink diamond, a brave princess, and a truth that could not be hidden. It is a story that will live forever, just like the diamond itself, and it is a story that we will never forget. In the end, everyone learned a lesson. Camilla learned that you can't steal history. The king learned that he can trust his sister. The workers learned that honesty is the best way. And the world learned that the British royal family is still full of surprises. But most of all, we learned about the strength of Princess Anne. We learned that she is the heart of the family. We learned that she is the one who keeps everything in order. She is the one who makes sure the crown stays where it belongs. She is the real deal. She is a princess who knows how to fight for what is right. And she is the one who saved the pink diamond. That is the end of our story. A story of a big secret, a bright jewel, and a very brave woman. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you learned something. And we hope you will come back for more, because there are always more stories in the palace. There are always more secrets to find, and there is always more truth to tell. See you next time. Goodbye for now. And remember, the truth is always the most beautiful thing of all, just like a pink diamond in the light. The story of the pink diamond is a reminder that even in the most fancy places, things can go wrong. But it is also a reminder that there is always someone who will do the right thing. There is always someone who will stand up for the truth. In the royal palace, that person is Princess Anne. She is the one who makes sure the rules are followed. She is the one who makes sure the family's honor is protected. She is a very special person, and the pink diamond is a very special jewel. Together, they made a story that the world will never forget. A story of greed and justice, a story of a queen and a princess, a story of a bright pink stone that was almost lost but was saved by the truth. It is a story that shows us that the truth is always there, even if someone tries to hide it. You just have to be brave enough to look for it. And Anne was brave enough. She found the truth and she told everyone. And that is why the pink diamond is back where it belongs. That is why the royal family is still strong. And that is why we tell this story. It is a story of hope and justice. And it is a story that we should all remember. The pink diamond will always be a part of the crown jewels. It will always be a symbol of the royal family's history. And it will always be a reminder of the night Princess Anne saved it. The story has become part of the palace's many secrets, but it is a secret that the whole world knows. It is a story that shows that even the most powerful people have to follow the rules. It is a story that shows that the truth is the most powerful thing of all, and it is a story that shows us the real character of the royal family. They are a family that cares about their history. They are a family that cares about their honor, and they are a family that has people like Anne to keep them on the right path. She is the one who made sure the story had a good ending. She is the one who saved the pink diamond. And she is the one who saved the family's soul. That is a very big job, but she did it with grace and strength. And that is why we admire her. That is why we tell her story. It is a story of a real princess doing a real job, and it is a story that we will always remember. The end. Wait, one more thing. The pink diamond is now back in its box. The glass is clean. The lights are on. It looks perfect. It looks like nothing ever happened. But we know the truth. We know the story. And every time we see a picture of that pink stone, we will remember. We will remember the bombshell. We will remember the pointing finger. We will remember the silence. And we will remember the truth. The story of the Williamson diamond is a part of us now. It is a story that reminds us to be brave and to be honest. It is a story that reminds us that the truth is always worth it. And it is a story that reminds us that there is always a guardian watching over the treasures of the past. That guardian is Princess Anne, and as long as she is there, the truth will be safe. The pink diamond will be safe, and the royal family will be safe. That is a very good thing, and that is the real ending of the story, a happy ending for a beautiful jewel and a brave princess, and a happy ending for the truth. Goodbye again. And thank you for listening to the story of the royal bombshell and the pink diamond. It was a story you won't forget.